What up, man?
What up? What up?
Oh, you know, trying to get some of this liquid coffee gold in me.
Welcome to the Water Boys College Football pregame show. We got Aaron and Steve this morning. We want to give a special shout out to our boy Strez, dealing with some family stuff last couple of days. We love you, buddy, and we're going to hold it down for you best we can.
Much love to our boy Strez and his wife Megan.
Lifing, man.
That's it. College footballing, man.
It is big college football.
I didn't have a Texas hat to put on today, so I guess I'll just wear my UK hat.
Oh, and I decided to wear the Indiana hat just so when we put these clips out on socials, it makes all these Texas fans very confused.
Right. I figured you'd kick me off the show if I want a Texas hat, especially after last week, maybe.
It'd be the nicest thing anybody that wears Texas hats has said to me in the last, 3 days. Finally got so bad with one guy, I actually DM'd him from a separate account, and I go, I don't want to ban you from our social medias, but you can't say homophobic things. That he was like, my bad. It's like, dude, this is not that serious. It's football. 101
elementary school stuff you should know. My favorite is when we get in the comments section. We're like, well, just come on the show. Let's talk about it.
Not one person reached out, by the way. We put that video out. Open invite to Texas fans. Not one person reached out.
I mean, they got $10 microphones at Walmart, or just use your AirPods and get on and chop it up with us.
All that chatter, come on the show and debate me. Not one person has DM'd and said, I'm coming on the show. A couple have said it in the comments, and I'm like, cool, DM us. Nothing.
Come on. We can make a new segment. Get up and set us straight.
I think it'd be fun, but I've told people before, going head to head, there's two things that you should never do. One is you should never heckle a comedian because they get paid to make fun of people for a living, and they can just think faster than you can.
Mm-hmm.
And the other people you should never do that to are people who did live radio for a long time, because they could just think faster than you can. Their arguments may not be better, but...
Or a musician. I've made my living consecutively ignoring people hollering out Freebird. All
right, we're chit-chatting as if there aren't live people watching us. Welcome into the Waterboys College Football pregame show. My name's Aaron Inman. If it's the first time tuning in, this is Blackstone Cherry bassist Steve Jewell. And we are normally a three-man show, but right now, for today, we are going to be a two-man show. May have a special guest show up. Kind of trying to get all this stuff wrangled together this morning, but let's get into Friday night upset. Steve, I wasn't even planning on putting any of the games from Friday night on the show this morning, but then neither of these games went the direction they were supposed to go. If for whatever reason, maybe you didn't get to watch the game and you're watching the show. Nebraska, ranked 25th in the country, loses to Minnesota 24-6. And then number 2, Miami, who a lot of people are making a case for the best team in the country, loses to Louisville 24-21.
And I called it.
I mean, I'm assuming you watched some of the Louisville-Miami game.
Oh, yeah. I was enjoying some nice shrimp tacos last night with some really great blueberry sauce, believe it or not, on them while I was watching the Miami-Louisville game. If you've never had blueberry sauce on shrimp tacos, I highly recommend it. But, yeah, I was a little nervous. I was like, how's the Cardinals going to play on the road at Hard Rock Stadium against Miami? How's that going to square up? But I didn't think that there'd be a lot of points scored in this one. I mean, even going into the game, Miami and Louisville was pretty kind of neck and neck on both sides of the ball. I think maybe Louisville had a little bit more of an advantage on their passing rate and completion rate, but what a great win for the Cardinals. I'm pretty sure I called that in a couple episodes back. But, yeah, that was a big conference win for the Louisville Cardinals. And, yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's some things to worry about for Miami moving forward, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, if you look at Carson Beck's stats, they don't start off too bad. 25 of 35, 271 yards, but the telltale 4 interceptions. And when I went back and watched the highlights early this morning, one of those is he just got picked off. Like, yeah, it's just not good. Running game wasn't really happening for Miami. Mark Fletcher, 8 carries, 18 yards, 1 TD. Malachi Toney, their number one wide receiver, 9 receptions, 135 yards. So Miami wasn't having any problems moving the ball around. Carson Beck having problems giving the ball back to Louisville all the time.
Exactly.
And that's pretty. If this was in Louisville, this would maybe not be as huge a shocker to me. But like, Miami Hard Rock Stadium's been rocking since the beginning of the year.
And there has been some times in recent year where Miami comes up to Louisville, and it's been a competitive game, but Miami Hurricanes has pulled it off. On the defensive side of the ball is where Louisville's strengths truly emerged. The Cardinals possess one of the most suffocating pass defenses in the nation, ranking first nationally in EPA per pass allowed at negative 0.40. That spells more trouble for the Miami offense than many may deem. Miami, while talented, has often been inconsistent on offense. So, it is funny how things played out there at the end, but looked like it was pretty much going to come down to a field goal, and if Louisville's defense could come in clutch and stop the Hurricanes, and it looks like that's exactly what happened. So it was a good game, a surprising game.
Yeah, then last night also Nebraska versus Minnesota. Now, Minnesota's a little bit better football team than traditionally maybe. Minnesota's they always, got Minnesota. There's a couple of teams up there, Montana, that put out, big old linemen and stuff. But for the most part, you don't think of Minnesota. The Golden Gophers is a big football powerhouse. But going into this game, they had a winning record, so maybe it's a little bit different. They've got a quarterback that could kind of sling it around a little bit. Mm-hmm. But, this is just another one of those cases. I just keep thinking Nebraska's got it figured out. I just keep thinking they got it figured out, man. This is it. Like,
I agree.
The train has left the station. The Nebraska Cornhuskers are headed in the right direction. And then you lose to Minnesota 24-6. And didn't score a single offensive touchdown.
Which is weird because Nebraska has scored at least 27 points in 5 straight games this season while averaging 450 yards per game. And Raiola has been a bright spot as a sophomore quarterback, has completed 73% of his passes with 16 touchdowns while averaging 8.5 yards per attempt. But, Minnesota comes in off a home win over Purdue in a game that, frankly, it didn't play very well. The Golden Gophers, they were outgained by nearly 200 yards and averaged just 1.7 yards per carry on the ground, and that's not good. Considering Purdue grades out with the second worst run defense in the Big Ten per PFF. And quarterback Drake Lindsey, he completed less than half of his passes. And of the Gophers' 63 offensive snaps, only 2 were explosives. And Minnesota's run game has failed it this season as the Gophers are averaging just 83 rushing yards per game at 2.9 yards per carry against FBS completion. So, yeah, that was a big win for Minnesota and surprising loss for the Cornhuskers. Like I said, averaging at least 27 points in 5 straight games this season. So I don't know what happened last night.
Well, Nebraska had trouble moving the ball down the field. Dylan Raiola goes 17 for 25 for 177 yards, which, typically that's a passing attack. He's a guy that likes to throw the ball all over the field. Big time arm. Yeah. Rushing yards, Emmett Johnson, 14 carries, 63 yards. But their number one wide receiver only had 52 yards. And for whatever reason, Minnesota was able to get a pass rush on him. Now, again, I'm not saying like I keep sounding like I'm just crapping on Minnesota, but this isn't Ohio State. Like, this isn't Michigan. This is Minnesota.
Right. And their offense isn't potent enough to match the Huskers score for score. And I didn't have confidence in Lindsey throwing the ball against a Nebraska secondary that ranked 7th nationally in passing success rate allowed and 2nd in EPA per pass allowed. The Gophers aren't equipped with explosive receivers on the outside, and Nebraska leads the entire country in preventing explosive pass plays. So, yeah, it was quite surprising turnout.
Yeah, I mean, the story, obviously Drake Lindsey had a pretty good game, 16 for 20 for 153 yards, but Darius Taylor, their running back, 24 carries, 148 yards.
Get it, old son.
I mean, that's a lot of yards, especially.
He was working.
And not one offensive touchdown. Like, if you're Nebraska, there's nothing you hang your hat on from this game that you're like, oh, we got it figured out. It's like, no, we just went into Minnesota and got killed.
Yeah.
It's sad. And
bounce back week 9, baby.
And it doesn't help that, we're going to talk about that here in a minute. It doesn't help that, Matt Rule's name is being thrown around every 5 minutes for the Penn State coaching job. Then you go out there and lay an egg. It's like, was Matt Rule already leaving? Is he, is he
distracted? What's going on?
Distraction. What's going on? Before we get into the Penn State stuff, we do want to tell you about our amazing sponsor. If I can find all my cool things, there it is. We tell you about Better.
These guys right here. There
it is. Better right there. Listen, most times are really confusing. Too many menus, too much scrolling. You're stuck waiting forever to see if your play hits. Better is the first real micro play app. So instead of waiting for the whole game, you can lock in a play on every drive, every pitch, every moment. No messy menus. Best part, new users get special picks and promos to try it out. Low risk, high fun. Download Better, BETR, and use code WASHED. Download Better and use code WASH. Better is the best.
Talking about pitches, man. I know this is a college football show, but we may have just experienced greatness last night if you watched the Dodgers and Brewers game. Speaking of pitches, Shohei Ohtani pitched 6.1 innings with 10 Ks and 3 home runs. That's just the most insane, inhuman thing I ever experienced watching live on television, and I digress.
We will never see that. That's one of those ones that you'll never see that again. That'll never, ever happen again.
No.
All right. Biggest storyline trending over the weekend, or over the week, I should say. Penn State coach short list. Everybody's always asking, what's the short list for Penn State? What's the short list for Penn State? So Paul Feinbaum came out over the week and said no one fits Penn State better than Matt Rule at Nebraska. Obviously, Matt Rule played there. He's from that part of the country. He's openly talked about, that was my school growing up. It's where I wanted to play. So the biggest thing that when I was was looking through this, this is before the game last night. I was like, hey, Matt Rule's building something special in Nebraska, consistently improving. And I'm looking at the Penn State thing, and they've got massive decommits, which you're going to have as soon as a coach leaves. Players are like, hey, that's the guy that's been talking to me and has told my family on this place and the money that I would get. And so I don't want to go anywhere else. So that's not abnormal. But on the flip side, Nebraska's had some really good recruiting classes. They got a bunch of really good recruiting classes coming in. So I'll just ask you, Steve, if you're Matt Rule, do you leave Nebraska for Penn State, or are they pretty much the same program at this point?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. You could say they could be the same program at this point. How much money does the Huskers have? How many corn cobs can you sell to keep him there, baby? I mean, slightly bigger program, maybe a slightly bigger budget. I can understand considering the job. But if you're Penn State, do you go out and you get someone who's recently been fired, who's got buyout money, so you don't have to spend a whole lot of money on a new head coach that you're bringing in, and maybe you could spend it more on players in the program? or do you go out there and try to get the best coach on the market? And is that Matt? Or is that Dan Mullen? Or is that Nick Saban? I think, I've seen a lot of people say, well, my first call would be to Nick Saban, but I saw a recent, well, it wasn't too recent, maybe a couple weeks ago, that Nick Saban was on a podcast with some guys, ex-football, NFL guy, players. Maybe it's, what's his name? The Clark guy that played for the Steelers. Is it Ryan Clark?
Oh,
I think
yeah.
The podcast he has.
Yeah, the Pivot.
The Pivot. I think it was maybe that podcast he was on a couple weeks ago, maybe months ago now. And basically Nick Saban was saying, and I'm summarizing, that if he was to ever coach again, I think he would probably just consider the NFL over college football because how much has changed. So that ship has sailed. I doubt Nick Saban is going to take the Penn State job, but would be my first call if I was Penn State. But yeah, Matt could be a solid choice. He is doing some great things there, I think, cooking up some things in Nebraska. Time will tell. But if you're Penn State and you see the climate of college football now with so much money swarming around, you go out and do you get someone, like I said, who's been fired and got that bailout money so you can save money on hiring a new coach, or do you go out and get the best guy for the job?
Yeah, so I'm with you. I think you got to go out and just get the best guy for the job. I also think
I
think there's a little bit of decorum for this. There's like guys who, as a respect factor, you have to reach out to, even though you're 99.9% sure they're going to go thanks, but no thanks. But like, you gotta make the call to Nick Saban, even though he's got no interest at all.
Call Mark Stoops too, please.
Yeah, Kentucky's got a guy. Here's what's pretty crazy. So I saw this from somebody close to the Penn State program. So I reached out and texted a guy that I've known in college sports media for a long time. And I said, can you substantiate that this is a real thing that is being floated around? So I gave him about half the day yesterday, and he texted me back, and he said, can confirm these are real rumors, and the rumors are coming from people who would know. And I said, okay. The rumor is that Urban Meyer has not only expressed interest in the job, but has told a booster if they made the offer, I would take the job. Urban Meyer back in the Big Ten would be one of the more wild things that has happened in college football. It wouldn't be as crazy as Nick Saban leaving LSU and then when he makes his return to college football coaching, making it at Alabama, but boy, it'd be close.
What would be crazy, Urban Meyer at Penn State or my boy Bill O'Brien?
I mean, either of those guys, at least one of those guys at least one of those guys didn't leave college coaching in somewhat of like a messy situation.
Right. Well, so here's some info I just found on Matt Rule. He has connections to the school, a blue-collar track record as a program builder, and ties to the area dating back to his time as a coach at Temple. That means he knows the lay of the land and how to hit the ground running as a recruiter. From a buyout perspective, Rule isn't a deal breaker. If he left Nebraska for another job, he'd owe the Cornhuskers brass $5 million. I figure that would be covered by a suitor like Penn State. Penn State would also need to make an offer above his current salary range. He's currently making $8.5 million this season to lead Nebraska, with the escalators up to $12.5 million in the final year of his deal. So this will be an expensive proposal from the jump. While Rule has earned a reputation of a turnaround specialist, he's never finished a season in the AP top 10, nor has he won a major bowl game. Now, Manny Diaz is interesting to me as well because Diaz was highly successful defensive coordinator at Penn State from 2022 to 23. He fielded top 10 defenses, known for living in opponents' backyard and forcing turnovers. He has head coaching experience, obviously, 4.5 seasons worth, spread across his time at Miami and his current post at Duke. His tenure with the Canes was forgettable, a 21-15 stretch in which he never really got out of neutral. But looks reborn at Duke. The issue, much like with Rule, is that he isn't known as a big game hunter. Diaz has 4 wins over ranked opponents, but none in the top 10. That was the only hiccup that got Franklin fired. So why sub out one above average but not elite coach for another? And then, of course, you got Billy O'Brien, who I've seen some rumors about that. Billy O, already one of the most meaningful head coaches in Penn State's 138 years of football. After the Joe Petrino scandal rocked the school, there were fears that the Natty Lions would experience an SMU-like fall from grace, a national power one day, if you will, a doormat the next. He righted the ship. He led them to a 10-6 mark in Big Ten play in 2012 and 2013, and then bolted for the NFL. No one blamed him for using the Penn State job as a stepping stone, which a lot of people do. If anything, fans, players, and administrators wished him well after keeping the proud program afloat. He led the Houston Texans to 4 playoff berths before a 0-4 start to the COVID season, and they sent him packing. Financially, he'd also be available to Penn State AD Dr. Patrick Kraft because he makes just $5 million per season up in Chestnut Hill. And then I was thinking maybe Kurt Signetti, but he also just got paid up. So I don't think he's going anywhere from Indiana. But, yeah, the two that I'm most interested in and watching a lot is Matt Rule and Manny Diaz for sure for the Penn State job.
There's our boy. I feel like Rule loves his job in Nebraska, but after last night, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I kept putting, I was putting this together last night, Strez. I was like, Matt Rule's got it figured out. They're being consistent, and then not last night. I know that Manny Diaz at Duke and Fran Brown at Syracuse aren't going to make a bunch of fans get excited. It's probably not going to help season ticket sales for people that were already we're going to put their season tickets up at the end of this year if Franklin's still there. But you got to ask yourself, if you're Penn State, do you want to bring a guy in that you can get 10 years out of? Maybe more. This is his go-to job. This is the only job that he would want. This is the best job he's ever going to get. That's the way that guy's going to look at it. That's Manny Diaz or Fran Brown. If you try to take a big swing with Matt Rule or, God forbid, Urban, you're not getting Urban Meyer for 10 years. You're just not. Urban Meyer's a lot older than people think he is. But I will say this.
Maybe 2.
He was on his podcast last week. He does, I can't remember who all is on it. I think they call it the third option or something. And he's got some, big time guys on this podcast. And he was at, they were talking about the Penn State thing, and he's on there making a case that Penn State is a top 3 job in the Big Ten, which when he said it, I thought that's a wild thing to say. That Penn State's a top 3 job in the Big Ten. But then when I read this thing and reached out to somebody about Urban Meyer's interested in Penn State, I'm like, is this him kind of giving a little bit of a dog whistle to Penn State by saying, hey, I would take this job if I got offered this job? But you're not getting for 10 years. Like Manny Diaz, Fran Brown, those guys, you're going to have to kick them out. They're never leaving if you bring them into Penn State. This is this is the job they will die on if given an opportunity. I think if it starts to not work real quick, a guy like Urban Meyer would bounce. I think Matt Rule has still got some things to get figured out at Nebraska. And if you bring him in, I mean, he's not at Nebraska right now. You're resurrecting a powerhouse down there. You go to Penn State, there's expectation immediately. Now, I'm not saying there's not expectation at Nebraska, but I don't think Nebraska. I think Nebraska fans that will be honest with themselves know this ain't worked since 1999. This just hasn't worked. We've had some decent years with Bo Pelini, we just haven't been able to figure it out. Penn State, if you come in here, Matt Rule, you have to at least do what James Franklin did.
Yeah.
That's
at the least, you'd think.
And that's win a lot of football games. That's win more football games a year than Matt Rule has probably won in a season than when he was at Baylor.
Yeah.
And the expectations are very high at Penn State. For all of what it is, Nebraska's expectation for like real fans they've been pretty honest and very patient with him. Now, last night didn't help, but
there'd be more pressure for sure. What do you think? If you're a coach at Penn State, you're going to be allowed, 2 losses?
I mean,
they may fire you.
That's how that school looks at itself.
It's kind of their calling card, right? A 10-2 season.
Yeah, 10-2. You know, and as an Oklahoma fan, I get that. I understand that. Like, I would have years where I'd be like, I can't believe we lost 2 games. And then I'd think of just how spoiled rotten that means that we are as fans, that the 10-2 season wasn't good enough. So,
oh, yeah. I think that about Kentucky. I miss when we could win 7 games. How spoiled we was winning 7 games.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska is probably a tougher coaching job.
Yeah.
Because you're having to change the entire culture. I mean, that's a fan base. You know, you get in there, they start talking about Tom Osborne, and they're talking about the 1999 team, and talking about their home sellout streak. That's one of the most suspect things in college football. That like they'll be 12,000 seats short, and then all of a sudden by game day they're like sellout, and you're like, how did
that happen?
So. No, I mean, if you're Penn State, you got 2 options. You can either go the route that's going to calm your fan base down and make them excited. That is making the calls to Urban Meyer, Matt Rule, seeing if there's anybody else out there that's not coaching right now. Now, I do find it very funny. James Franklin's going to be on game day today. That's
going to be interesting. I didn't know that. I missed that.
Yeah, they're doing a live interview with James Franklin.
Where's game day at today?
Are they back in the SEC? I think they're wherever Georgia,
Alabama, Tennessee, maybe.
It might be. I can't remember who they're at, but I mean, the fact he's going to be talking today is a little wild. So we'll see what he has to say. A game that I am very excited about today. And this is not going to probably be one of those games that means a whole lot to anybody, but I think the Holy War is the most underrated rivalry in college football. Like, the name alone, Utah, BYU, the Holy War, is one of the greatest nicknames for a college football rivalry ever.
It really is.
Obviously, it doesn't mean a whole lot maybe to fans outside of that regional area, because it doesn't typically have like a bunch of big stakes for it. But this year, this is the first time since 2009 that BYU and Utah are ranked. So this is a big deal. Tennessee, Alabama is where game day is, and James Franklin's going to sit down. That's because this is going to be the most wild thing in the world. It is a super old rivalry, goes back to 1890. It's a big game today because this has got a lot of implications for the Big 12. The Big 12 has been one of the most wild conferences in college football this year.
It's been fun to watch, fun to keep up with.
I mean, I've gone from this is Arizona State's conference to lose. They're the best team, and then I'm like, all right, never mind. Here's Texas Tech. We got TCU, BYU. I mean, it's a pretty wide open conference, so it does mean a lot for today. But yeah. I mean, see a lot of jacked up Mormons in Salt Lake City tonight.
I wish they'd do some kind of like special like cage match, ladder match, with a bunch of Mormons out there, pregame, halftime, just like go all in. Give us a stone cold stunner, baby. Just throw it down, because this is for the first time since 2009, both Utah and BYU are in the top 25. Just reading some information here on this one. This is the 103rd matchup in this series history, which is interesting, but arguably the biggest game of them all. Both teams enter this game with the serious Big 12 title and college football playoff aspirations, an 11-1 combined record. Utah has been quite profitable on the road for all you sports bettors out there, entering the game 3-0 against the spread as the visiting team this year. So that's interesting. They hope to continue that in what should be a crazy environment in Provo. Utah leads the Big 12 in rushing yards per game, and it typically wears down opposing defenses on the ground, averaging 248.2 yards per game. They share the love around in the backfield, of course, and as three different backs have over 50 carries through 6 games. The leading rusher by yardage is a sensational Devin Dampier. Dampier, I think so you say his last name. A quarterback who can single-handedly win Utah games with his arms or his legs. He's a beast. Alongside Dampier, the running back duo of Parker and Rogers has combined to add 633 rushing yards. Jesus. And 9 touchdowns of their own. Defensively, Utah has been dominant as well. They've held 5 of their 6 opponents to 14 points or less, which is very crucial. The one exception was a 34-10 loss to Texas Tech, but I mean, it's Texas Tech. They're looking sensational this year. And in that game, the Red Raiders starting quarterback Morton exited due to a surprising injury, and backup Will Hammond came in his place. And Hammond ran for 61 yards on 8 carries, on top of 169 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, if we switch over to the BYU Cougars, I'm not sure they expected their first season, especially the quarterback's first season, to go like this. After Jake Retzlaff exited the program, the responsibility of taking on the reins to a 10-win football team full of veterans on both sides of the ball fell to a freshman wearing the number 47. But the freshman quarterback has delivered with 15 total touchdowns through 6 games, 7 on the ground and 8 through the air. It's clear that BYU has found its quarterback of the future and the present. It runs like a fullback and just simply makes plays. It was on full display last week as BYU trailed Arizona by 10 points on the road with just over 10 minutes left in the game. But the rookie quarterback led BYU on back-to-back scoring drives, baby, including a 2-minute drill turned touchdown into which he ran the ball 6 times and punched the game-tying score himself. It sounds crazy, but shades of Tim Tebow applies here. Both in the dual threat, physical skill set, and his ability to lead a veteran team, he makes the impossible seem possible. BYU is second in the Big 12 in rushing yardage and only trailing Utah by 10 per game. It's going to be a good matchup today for the Holy War. Who are you picking? You know you want to pick BYU.
Well, I'm going to save that for our picks, but I will say this.
Let us know in the comment section who you're picking. Everybody.
Yeah, if you're watching this, we're about to here in about 5 minutes. We're going to start picking games, but maybe a little bit longer than that. I mean, it's pretty wild that BYU ranked 15, Utah ranked 23. I did see campus police at BYU were trying to suck a lot of fun out of this game for kids. They're not letting them camp out for the game. I was like, hey, you might not get another one of these in a while. I don't, this is BYU we're talking about. Nothing that crazy is going to happen. It is interesting because both teams have done really, really well, but BYU, I think, has outperformed what anybody thought they would. They're 6-0, Utah, the Utes, 5-1. It's going to be a beautiful atmosphere. Salt Lake Valley, mid-October, 7 p.m., Central kick. I mean, it's just got
prestige football, college football climate.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be unbelievable. So we will be picking that game here in a second. Before we get to it, we're going to talk about Heisman stuff, though. And before we get to our Heisman stuff, If you're watching this, do me a favor, download Better. That's BETR. Download Better, the official sponsor of the Waterboys College Football pregame show. Not a bunch of messy, menus, a bunch of scrolling. It's not one of those apps that's super confusing. In fact, it's the first real micro play app. So instead of waiting for the whole game, you can lock in and play on every drive, every pitch, every moment. Super simple. Just download it and use code WASH. Download Better and use code WASH. Get $10 instantly. And first deposit matched up to $200. So don't just play it, better it. And do us a favor, support the show by downloading that. All right, Bleacher Report put out their Heisman rankings. Boy, these Heisman rankings look way different than they did at the beginning of the year.
Right.
Way different. So they've kind of got them broken into tiers. Their first tier, they're calling Tier 4, they're in the neighborhood. Tier 3, they're calling it, they have our attention. Tier 2, top challengers. Tier 1, the front runners. We'll run through real quick a couple of guys that are on the Tier 4. Gunnar Stockton at Georgia. I think that's just because you're the quarterback of Georgia. He not unbelievable against Auburn, 217 yards. Throwing Georgia Tech's Haynes King. They're calling him a 2001 Eric Crouch, run heavy quarterback. Jeremiah Love, running back at Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love not getting the love he should for the Heisman has everything to do with the way that Notre Dame has called plays this year. I mean, the first couple of games of the year, didn't even know he was on the team.
I think a lot's we're gonna find out a lot about Notre Dame today. I think if they can make the playoffs or not. I think that could be dictated if they beat USC. So we'll see. That's going to be a big game.
And it'll be a big game for Jeremiah Love because obviously USC, not a great defense. Like if he wants to put up, if they choose, I should say, to call a game where Jeremiah Love can put up a bunch of big numbers, this is the game to do it because you're playing USC. Which part, people are like, you're wearing an Indiana hat, so what I'm about to say is going to make no sense. I can tell you how to beat a Lincoln Riley team because I'm an Oklahoma fan. Keep the offense off the field. Stretch your drives out as long as humanly possible to mitigate the amount of possessions that USC is going to get. Jeremiah Love should be your best friend today.
Yeah.
Feed
you
that.
You got to get him the ball.
Over and over. I don't care if he's only getting 4 or 5 yards an attempt. Just keep giving him the ball. Move the ball. Don't throw the ball downfield. Don't do what every Lincoln Riley opponent tries to do or get suckered into doing, which is like, well, we're going to score with them. No, you just have to keep them off the field.
Exactly. Because I'm not too scared, and I wouldn't be too scared if I was Notre Dame of USC's corners. Air it out a little bit because I think the worst that's going to happen, they're either going to break up the pass or they're not going to catch it, but I doubt they're going to get a pick and take it away from Jeremiah Smith if you throw it to him. But, yeah, you got to find him today and got to air the ball out, get it to Jeremiah Smith and get it going, baby, because like I said, I think this will be a telltale if you guys can make the college football playoffs again this year or not and go for a deep run.
All right, so let's go into I got one name on their Tier 3. They call it They Have Our Attention. Desmond Williams Jr., quarterback out of Washington. That dude against Rutgers threw for 402 yards and then rushed for 136 more with 2 touchdowns. That guy can do everything. Now, he's not playing on a team where he's going to get like a whole bunch of Heisman love, but Desmond Williams Jr. can flat out throw the ball and run. They're Tier 2. We're going through Bleacher Report's Heisman rankings. They call these guys the top challengers. Dante Moore, QB at Oregon, is probably the most complete quarterback in the country.
He's looking good right now.
That guy can do everything. Now, obviously, a bad loss against we'll call it a bad loss against Indiana. I have no idea still if this is like real, if Indiana is really this good, or if this is just like we're living in a twilight zone.
I think they're going to bounce back today. They play Michigan, right?
I think that's Oregon's game today. Yeah.
Yeah. They should bounce back today.
Marcel Reed, QB out of Texas A&M. I really like that kid. The guy, he is really, really good. Texas A&M is a really good football team. And then the top 3 quarterbacks, according to Bleacher Report, that they have as the front runners for the Heisman right now. Ty Simpson, QB at Alabama. Bama. Fernando Mendoza, QB at Indiana. Carson Beck, QB at Miami. Now, obviously, this list was put together before last night's really bad performance by Carson Beck, throwing 4 interceptions against Louisville. Not a loss that you could take. And there are good losses and bad losses when it comes to Heisman talk. Good losses are, I still had a really good game, but like our defense didn't help us out. We had a couple of 3 and outs. Bad losses are, our defense didn't help us out and we couldn't score either. And I played terrible. Now, I don't think that we live in the age of like one game can just ruin a guy's Heisman, resume, but that one didn't help. But Ty Simpson at Alabama, considering how things have changed so much from Alabama losing to Florida State in week 1 to now week 7.
That's what I was going to say. It's a wild Heisman race when a quarterback who lost his first career start to a non-floundering Florida State team sits atop of the list. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
college football, baby.
27-24 victory last week against Missouri. He throws for 200 yards, 3 scores, 0 interceptions. Alabama was a lot of Alabama fans. We were hearing about it in the comments and videos we were putting out. Kellen DeBoer, not the guy. Blah, 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 get rid of him. Now Alabama might be one of the top 5 best teams in the country.
And Simpson, he's one of only 4 FBS quarterbacks to record multiple passing touchdowns in every game he has played and has 200 or more passing yards in all 6. He completed 17 of his attempts against UL Monroe and had only 5 interceptions the following week against Wisconsin. And, he's shown some toughness in a road win against Georgia. And then he outplayed fellow Heisman candidate Diego Pavia in the following week. And boy, you talk about a good game there. Simpson has endured one of the tougher first-half schedules, especially for a first-time starter, and has spread the ball around nicely to his targets while showing strong leadership skills. I mean, he flew under the radar for me. I wasn't thinking much about him really going into the season. But, I think he's put more people on notice after first couple of games. And like I said, it's a wild Heisman race, and who knew that he would be sitting up top, Carson Beck and Fernando Mendoza. I really like Mendoza. I think he's got a high chance here too. But, I figured like we'd be sitting here talking about some other guys, like maybe John Mateer or Arch Manning, but it's Ty Simpson and Carson. Yeah.
Cade Klubnik at Clemson. Those were the guys that everybody was talking about. Not one of those guys on the list now.
You couldn't tell me that anybody that's a fan of college football going into this season had Carson Beck on their Heisman watch.
No way.
It's just crazy.
All the off the field stuff. Like you just
maybe stretch.
You just thought they said he's not, this is too many off the field distractions, whatever. But yeah, it didn't look good. Now we got names that no one saw coming, and one of them's an Alabama quarterback after the way Alabama started. This is the weirdest year for college football I could think about in a long, long time. All right, we're going to pick some games before we get out of here. So if you're picking along with us, feel free to drop it in the comments. Number 10, LSU at number 17, Vanderbilt. Now, this was already, if this would have been 2 seasons ago, we'd be like, well, LSU struggling, but this is Vanderbilt. last 2 years, this Vanderbilt is not the same your mama's Vanderbilt. Like, they got it figured out in Vanderbilt. They know how to play college football.
I think Clark Lee has a lot to do with that, man. That is his alma mater. He's been fired up since he's gotten there. His GM there at Vandy, I can't remember his name, but it seems like they got a good system going.
Yeah.
And how crazy is it to think that LSU is going into Nashville to play Vandy, and they are the underdog? They're 2.5 on the spread, underdog. Of course, Vanderbilt's favored. The total set at 48.5. And, the Tigers, they still have blue chip talent, but this season hasn't lived up to the LSU standard offensively yet. That's the only thing. And on paper, the defense is performing as expected. 30th in defensive success rate, 14th in finishing drives allowed, and 28th in explosiveness allowed. They're disruptive up front, 36 in havoc, and solid on third downs, 37th, doing their part to keep LSU competitive. But LSU's defense gives the offense plenty of opportunities, top 30 in defensive hard stops, 26 in field position. But the offense has struggled to convert that into points, which has been very frustrating. Garrett Nussmeier, who entered the season with high expectations, has been playing pretty decent ball. He's got an 83.1 PFF grade. It's respectable, and his underlying metrics are fairly aggressive. He's completing 76.8% of his passes. His average depth of targets at 7.9 and big-time throw rate, 6.3%, suggests that he's willing to push the ball. Despite this profile and having elite talent around him, the offense ranks 96 in explosiveness and 86 in finishing drives. Poor numbers for a team with LSU's roster. It's crazy. The Tigers have also been among the least efficient on third down, 93rd nationally, and have struggled to stay on schedule, 58th in success rate. It's not that Nussmeier is making catastrophic mistakes, right? He's 3.4% turnover. Worthy play rate is modest, but LSU's passing game has lacked rhythm. That's the biggest thing. Passing game has lacked rhythm. The lack of tempo, 99th nationally, has compounded these problems as the Tigers simply aren't creating enough possessions to offset their inconsistency. They also don't sustain possessions well enough, likely because they put themselves behind the sticks constantly, ranking 100th in standard down rate. Aaron, what do you think my boy Garrett Nussmeier has to do today to air the ball out and complete some passes to get that offense humming?
I've been looking for it all season long, which is to just be able to put drives together that finish.
Because defense has stepped up, right? That was the biggest issue, it seemed like, last year.
Last 2 or 3 years, we were waiting on the LSU defense to figure it out.
Right, and they have this season. Now it's like, why can't we get the offense, playing on par?
They feel like they're constantly running in cement. It drags along. It's, they get into weird third and long situations. They'll get down there into the red zone and they can't convert. It's a very weird thing that they just can't generate any sort of momentum offensively. I'm not confident necessarily that LSU's offense is going to be able to put enough points together. Also, though, I don't know. Vanderbilt is not going to face many more athletic defenses than LSU's.
That's true.
They run fast. They hit hard. Their defensive backs are great. Their safeties are fantastic. So that's really what it's probably going to come down to. Stress's dad down here brings up a good point. Vanderbilt by 3, coach auditioning for Penn State job. There are going to be a lot of coaches at schools like Vanderbilt auditioning for the Penn State job this weekend. I know that I am probably going to be in the minority here. I'm taking Ole Miss by 3. Or not Ole Miss. I'm taking LSU by 3. I'm looking at a different game. I'm taking LSU by 3. I don't feel good about it. But I think this game, unless Diego Pavia really is like the second coming of Johnny Manziel, and he can come out, he's like, hey, I can carve up any defense. I don't care who it is. And they go out there and just shock me in the first half and they put up 24. Yeah. Then maybe I'll start sweating it. I don't know, though, that Pavia is going to be able to get the big throws that he needs, the stuff that Vanderbilt depends on to get momentum offensively, which is Pavia either getting out of the pocket and making some crazy happen or throwing the ball downfield. That's going to be tough to do on LSU. They're going to have to stay patient and wait for – well, we got a storm outside. This could be – okay, this makes sense now. There's a delay at the Texas A&M Arkansas game. And I'm close to Northwest Arkansas, so I get that. I'm taking LSU by 3, but I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, this is a tricky one because, like I was saying earlier, LSU's defense 30th in defensive success rate, 14th in finishing drives allowed, and 28th in explosiveness allowed. Now, if we switch over to Vandy, at the center of that attack is quarterback Diego Pavia, right? One of the most efficient passers in the country right now. Pavia owns an 85.1 PFF grade, having thrown for 1,409 yards and 14 touchdowns with just 4 turnover-worthy plays, 4.1%. He's completing 78.7% of his passes, averaging 9.5 yards per attempt, and takes sacks on only 2.2% of dropbacks. Vanderbilt's offense has been built around that precision, high completion rates, clean pockets, and consistent early down execution. It's no coincidence that Doors have been able to move the ball well, pairing balance on the ground with elite passing efficiency. The attack has led them to get into standard downs on the 13th highest rate in the country. Vanderbilt ranks 11th in total havoc, while LSU ranks 83rd in havoc allowed. Expect Vanderbilt to get after Nussmeier. So we'll see what happens. You're going with LSU. They're my favorite football team to watch outside of UK because, UK, we're a basketball state. We've talked about this. But who am I going to pick? I kind of like Vandy. I think I'm going to pick Vandy for the money line. If I was betting on this, though, I would probably definitely take the under on the total points, 48.5. But I'm going to roll with the Commodores on this one.
And I got Strez's picks in last night. He's also taken Vandy. So I'm the only one taking LSU. And we will see how that votes for us. Let's see here. Next game up, Ole Miss at Georgia. Number 5, Ole Miss at number 9, Georgia. I still do not know how good Ole Miss is, but I could say that about the top 10 teams in general with the way that the season has gone so far. I don't know how good Ole Miss is. Thank
God, not to interrupt you, but thank God, with week 8 and week 9 coming up, we're starting to get more of these teams to play some in-conference games so we can finally start to see things kind of get offset or where some of these teams are really at. So, and this is going to be one of those games.
Yeah, this is probably this may be the biggest game of the day as far as SEC championship contender. I'll call it picture, because we've got about 3 or 4 teams, maybe 5 teams in the SEC that I think, they could win the conference. This is 2 of the biggest ones. Number 5, Ole Miss at number 9, Georgia. Now you're asking a lot of Ole Miss to go into Georgia. That place is going to be rocking. That place is going to be crazy. I don't know how I feel about either quarterbacks in this. Gunnar Stockton does a good job of doing exactly what he's got to do to win football games, but I don't look at him as like some sort of contender for a Heisman. I don't look at Georgia as somebody that scores a ton. I mean, they've had a couple of games where they put up some big scores, but a lot of them were not against great teams. And if you look at it, even they put up 40. Let's see here. I was just looking at Georgia's scores. Let's see here. So this season, when they've had to play, decent teams this year, they put 21 up on Alabama. They scored 44 against Tennessee, but they gave up 41. So even though they won that game, they still gave up a ton of points. They put 35 up on Kentucky.
Only 20 on Auburn.
Yeah, that's the one that is a really – they only put up 20 on Auburn. They put up 28 against Austin Peay. So – their offense is a little bit inconsistent. The fact that you made that game was that close against Auburn, who is not a good football team at all. Yeah. And on the other side of it, you've got Ole Miss, and they can score. Like, they can put up a lot of points when they've got to do it. So, for this one, it's going to be, can Ole Miss get started quick? When you're playing on the road, you're going to have to weather the early storm of the crowds at its loudest. The players are at their most juiced up. Your guys may be playing with a little bit of nerves, but if you can get off to a good start early, like if Ole Miss can come right out and score and get the crowd kind of calm down a little bit, this could get really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah.
But this is a game to show if Lane Kiffin is really one of the best coaches in the SEC, this is the game for him to prove it this season. Doesn't have Jackson Dart. This is a new team. He's got him at number 5 in the AP top 25. All that being said, though, I'm taking Georgia. I just don't see how Ole Miss can go into Georgia. That's a hostile atmosphere. So I'm taking the Bulldogs.
Yeah, man. If Ole Miss wants to win this game, the front of the nickel defense must produce against inside zone rushing attempts for sure. The Ole Miss offense has been much more explosive through the air this year, even with pressure on the quarterback. Chambliss elevates with a crowded pocket, posting an 88% adjusted completion rate and 32 pressure dropbacks. Creating quality drives will be key against Georgia, as the Bulldogs have had issues in keeping opponents off the board and scoring opportunities. On the other side, the defense has seen a drop-off from 2024 team, a numerous run analytics now set outside the top 100. Ole Miss is a bottom 20 team in terms of line yards and stuff rate. So Georgia will have plenty of success owning the trenches. The narrative changes, though, with a secondary led by safeties Sage Ryan and Williams Jr., as Ole Miss ranks 17th in passing success rate allowed. The 3-3-5 has been excellent at limiting opponents' pass explosives while maintaining a top 35 down defense. But, again, if Ole Miss wants to win this game, the front of the nickel defense has got to produce today. Georgia survived one of the weirdest games of the season with that 2010 victory over Auburn. It was just a crazy game. The Bulldogs ended with a 53% post-game win expectancy in the 10-point win, barely edging out Auburn in overall yards per play. The rushing attack was stuffed on 11 out of 29 attempts against a Tigers defense front it's one of the best in the nation at defending the run. Auburn exploded just before halftime, ending the game with 11 penalties for 103 yards, despite converting nearly half of all third and fourth down attempts. But quarterback Gunnar Stockton, man, he's seen some smoke in his touchdown to interception ratio, posting just 6 big-time throws to 5 turnover-worthy plays. Georgia does struggle, though, to create explosives, ranking 131 in pass EPA. Stockton has relied on short passing and a 6.8-yard mark at average depth of target, as slot Branch has done most of his damage in the backfield. Of his 36 targets this season, though, 21 have came in the backfield, making open field tackling an emphasis for Ole Miss. The Georgia defense has seen a drop-off since the national title team of the post-pandemic era. The Bulldogs have been unable to generate havoc and rank in the bottom 15th in terms of creating pass rush. The secondary, which plays plenty of cover 3, quarters and man, ranks 68th in coverage per PFF. Where the Bulldogs have exceeded expectations is against the rush, dominating teams that use inside zone and power run concepts. You know, if I was betting on this game, who would I take on the money line? Probably going to roll with the Bulldogs, but I'm not mad at the 7.5 spread on Ole Miss. But give me the Bulldogs going into this one. I think the Bulldogs can get something humming, and this may be one of those games. I don't know. You got to watch Lane Kiffin, though, because sometimes they lose games that they shouldn't have, and sometimes they win games that they shouldn't have, especially when it's a big game like this one. But I'm rolling with the Bulldogs on this one.
Yeah, getting Strez pick in last night. He's rolling with the Bulldogs as well. But it's gonna be a crazy game to watch. That game has got tons and tons of national championship implication and college football playoff implication. Another game that means a lot for the conference and is going to have some college football playoff implications. Number 7, Texas Tech at Arizona State. Arizona State, for a lot of people, the favorite coming in this year to win the Big 12. They have stumbled a little bit, but a lot of teams in the Big 12 have spent the entire season thus far just beating up on each other. That's just been kind of the way the Big 12 has been. So this is a big game for Texas Tech. I really like Tech. I think they're really fun to watch. Very talented. Yeah. They've got a little bit of some of that old school Tech, like we can really hurt you downfield, but they've got a great running game too. A lot of people don't like to remember that, people think of Tech, they think of the Mike Leach years, but a lot of Mike Leach's air raid offense was set up by the run. And this team has some shades of that as well. I really like Tech. I want this game to prove that they are the favorites in the Big 12. I believe in what they're doing. I believe in the style of play that they have. I think that Arizona State, while returning a quarterback, obviously they played for the college football playoff last year. I mean, they have everything that I thought they would have, but going into this game, they're only 4-2, whereas Tech is 6-0. It's hard to pick against a team that's 6-0, who put up a ton of points against Houston. They put a lot of points up against Utah when Utah was ranked. Everybody thought Kansas was going to be, the Kansas having a better year. This isn't the old Kansas. Well, they went in and put 42 up on Kansas. So this is a 3:00 kick at Arizona State. I'm taking Tech in this one. And this one could get out of hand pretty quick because this is the team that can put a bunch of points on the board in bunches. So I got the Texas Tech Red Raiders.
The Red Raiders, baby. I like it. With Leavitt trending towards playing on Saturday today, I see enough value on Arizona State getting over a touchdown at home to roll with the Sun Devils on the spread. I still like Texas Tech to win the game and view it as the better team, but this is a do-or-die spot for Arizona State after getting beat last week by Utah and now welcoming its star quarterback back. Should be a great atmosphere at the game there today. Texas Tech is just balanced, as well balanced as any team in the conference, but this will be one of the more capable defenses it'll have faced to date, and I expect Arizona State to be flying around the ball, particularly in the red zone. The turnover battle will loom large, but I can't pass up a home team getting this many points and what should be a fun one on Saturday. I like Arizona State on the spread as the underdog, 8.5. But I'm with you, man. Give me the Red Raiders They're just so fun to watch. You know, Joey McGuire and his staff, they went to work in the offseason, transfer portal. Like I said, spending over $12 million, to secure 21 high-caliber transfers, including elite defensive linemen like Stanford's David Bailey. They're just so fun to watch. The Big 12's wide open. And, I think the Red Raiders are going to get this one today. But I do like Arizona State on the spread at 8.5.
Number 6, Alabama. Number 10, Tennessee. One of the more interesting games today, not just because it's two ranked teams. I have not been a big believer in Tennessee this season. People say, "Oh, it's just because you're a Oklahoma fan." I'm also a Josh Heupel guy. Like, I love Josh Heupel. Obviously, if you don't know your college football history, won a national championship as a quarterback of the 2000 Oklahoma team. One of the most underrated quarterbacks of the last 30 years. And when you talk about a guy that took no shortcuts into coaching, I mean, that guy, he has paid his dues to be at Tennessee. GA at Oklahoma, went into ECU. I mean, he's coached at several different schools and has really become somewhat of an offensive genius. It is, however, I will say this. It's a little weird to watch him on the sideline and try to convince young college football fans under the age of like 18 that at one time that guy played quarterback at Oklahoma and won a national championship, because he doesn't look like he looked like the day he quit playing football, he was like, that's it. I will never step foot in a gym. You will not catch me at a salad bar. He just coaches.
Catch me at a Ryan's buffet, baby.
Yeah, that's all he's at. So now this is at Bryant-Denny Stadium. This is not the same Alabama that we saw week 1. No. They have got their quarterback figured out. Some people call it the best quarterback in the country. Tennessee, offensively, obviously, they're really, really good. They beat Georgia this year already. They put up 41 on Mississippi State. Mississippi State can play football now. Levy's got it figured out. They squeaked by Arkansas last week in a game that I was down the stretch rooting for the Hogs so hard, because I like seeing when a team can rally around, right after a coach gets fired. But you're asking a lot. 6:30 kick, Tennessee to go into Alabama. I think this one could be close. This one could be close. I'm probably going to go against the grain here a little bit. And I don't like this fan base at all. They annoy the ever-living dog piss out of me. But I think I'm taking Tennessee in this one.
Ooh, taking the volunteer, eh?
Yeah, I know when I'm asking a lot. I'm asking that offense to go into Bryant-Denny and outscore with a Heisman frontrunner. But if somehow, some way, Tennessee can put enough together to beat Alabama, the SEC conference just goes into complete free fall. No one has a clue who the best team is in this conference now.
What I was trying to find the total for this game. Is it like 54.5?
75?
It's 75 right now?
No, that's what it feels like. It's good. That is what it feels like this could be. This could be one of those crazy
58. 58.5. Yeah, it's crazy. There's way too much offensive potential, on both sides or for both teams.
But Steve, whenever that happens, this is one of those games that you want. You look at halftime and it's like 10-7. You're like,
yeah.
Oh,
if you take the over on this game today on the total, hopefully we'll all be cheering beers and ripping cigars in the third quarter when Tennessee covers to take a 31-28 lead to ultimately get this thing over the number. We'll see. One big X factor to activate a track meet today in Tuscaloosa is the big playability through the air to continuously set up scoring chances. Tennessee's secondary is near the back half of the country in yards per completion allowed, which should give Alabama quarterback and Heisman potential candidate Ty Simpson plenty of options to move the chains with his receivers. Alabama, meanwhile, they've allowed around 10 yards per completion, which is marginally worse than last year's clip. However, the Crimson Tide have yet to really face an offense like Josh Heupel's high-octane, up-tempo style, which thrives on go routes and skinny posts down the field. Alabama's offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb and Tennessee's OC Joey Hazel really know how to script their teams into favorable positions early in the game. Tennessee actually ranks second in the nation in first half points per game, which Alabama's offense is just outside the top 10 near 11, or at number 11, at 20.8. It's going to be a high-scoring game. I definitely like the over at 58.5, and I like the spread on Tennessee. They're coming into this game as an underdog at 8.5. So, who to pick on this one? Man, I think I'll roll Tennessee as well. But if I'm betting on this one, I'm taking Tennessee on the spread and the over on the total.
All right. We got about a few minutes here. We're going to have our celebrity guest picker come in and pick these games as well. So we're going to try and run through these, the last two that we got here pretty quick. Strez is taking Bama in this one. He's probably the only one of us that's thinking clearly on this, which is fine. That's pretty typical of our boy Strez to be the voice of reason in the room.
Voice of reason.
Real quick, we got our last two games here, and then we're going to have our celebrity guest picker, if we can get him on the line, to come in and pick these games as well, because I'm very interested as to what he's going to do. One of the more overhyped college football rivalries, in my opinion. I don't think this game makes any sense as a rivalry anymore. These schools have no proximity to each other, but it's a historical game. Number 20, USC at number 11, Notre Dame. We were talking about it early in the show. Marcus Freeman has to fight the urge to try to score with USC. Fight the urge, buddy. Fight the urge. You don't need to score with them. You need to keep their offense off the field. You need to put together an amazingly consistent running game with Jeremiah Love. Just give that guy the ball and let him run the football. Don't try to throw the ball down the field.
And injuries right now are a concern for USC, heading into this game in South Bend. Not only missing Jordan in the backfield, but potentially others in the trenches. So, this could be a good opportunity for Notre Dame.
I'm taking Notre Dame in this one. I wouldn't, like I said, it's all going to come down to if Notre Dame just feeds Jeremiah Love the football and lets him run the football. But if they go out there and try to throw it around, the score could get crazy and you get yourself into a weird shootout. USC's coming into Notre Dame. That place is going to be rocking. So I am taking the Irish.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Notre Dame on this one too. Looking at odds right now, Notre Dame is favorited at -9. The total is at 61.5, and they're in the money on the money line at -330 for Notre Dame. Yeah, like I said, USC has got some injuries, so Notre Dame can take advantage of that. USC's defense may be hard pressed to stop Price and Love out of the backfield. Excuse me. Both running backs will mix inside and outside zone read concepts, an area the Trojans have struggled to defend. If the USC defense forces Notre Dame into passing downs, the Irish rank 4th in efficiency and 21st in converting third downs. So, yeah, I like Notre Dame on this one, but kind of interested in the spread on USC as well.
Strez is taking USC. He's probably thinking that offense is going to travel. I don't disagree with him. I think this all comes down to the first couple series from Notre Dame. What style of football are they going to play?
And who makes adjustments at halftime? Because that always tells the tale too, coming back out in the second half.
Yeah, because USC can confuse the living crap out of you. I mean,
Yep.
Lincoln Riley's still one of the best play callers in the game. Still one of the best play callers in the game.
Yep. Ooh, come in there, Rocky.
Papa Strez is rocking it with his son. USC takes on the overrated Notre Dame team. I think it's going to be a shootout. It's probably going to be a game that ends up on the big TV that is back there and not on the smaller TV that no one can see. It's probably going to be the game that ends up there. All right, last one for us. So we're going to try to get our guest here in just a second. The Holy War, Utah at number 15, BYU. This game, I think, is going to be – there are not a lot of games where the teams playing each other. This is legitimately one of those where you can live in a neighborhood in Salt Lake City where you could be a diehard Utah fan living right next to a diehard BYU fan. That doesn't happen everywhere in the country.
Right.
That's not horribly typical where your fan bases are all clustered in that Salt Lake Valley. They both have two of the most beautiful stadiums in college football, lights on the mountain, fall in the Salt Lake Valley. Listen, if you've never been to Salt Lake City, Utah in your life, I can just say when you fly into Salt Lake City and look out the window, you're like, I get it. I get why the Mormons trekked all the way here. This makes complete sense. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world.
It is. Strez had a comment earlier in the comment section that had me laughing pretty good. You were talking about, I guess, the police, right? Not letting them party or tailgate or whatever pregame out in the parking lot. And Strez had a comment that says, Mormons aren't allowed to pitch a tent. That's hilarious.
No. It's going to be a fun one. Andy coming in. Malachi Lemon, 2 touchdowns today. Shout out, Andy. Love that logo. That's fantastic, brother. Man, this one is so hard to pick. But I'm going with Papa Strez. I think the home team probably takes it here. I think BYU might be the better team. That sometimes means nothing in rivalry games at all. As a man that has grown up in Oklahoma, we used to just, whenever Bedlam would come along, we'd go throw the rankings out because this game's going to get wild. Right. But I am picking BYU in this one, and I'm hoping there's a lot of points scored in this game. This feels like a game that needs to get into the 60s total night game. Make it happen. Right. That's what I want. I'm taking BYU.
Can't fault you there. The spread for this one is set at 3.5. Utah's favored. BYU's the underdog coming in this one. The total is at 49. Yeah, Utah's in the money on the money line at -170. You know, with both teams sharing many of the same traits, a star dual threat quarterback, a dominant rushing attack with veteran defenses and great coaches, it'd be fair to expect this to be a great game. BYU has won 2 straight in this series, and we'll have a sizable home field advantage. Through 6 games, we haven't seen a formula worthy of beating BYU. We've seen Utah fall to Texas Tech, which employed a quarterback run game, that can be replicated. Expect the Cougars to find success and ride their home crowd to a cover. I'm with you, Aaron. It's hard for me to pick one or the other on the money line. I do like BYU on the spread at +3.5. But you know what? Feeling feisty today. Give me BYU on the money line. Let's go, baby. Pinch a tent, Mormons. I want to see a wrestling match out there in the parking lot. Show everybody that you love football. Let's see it. Bring it on. We need some enthusiasm.
Strez is taking BYU. All right, guys, we got a guest coming in right now from David Talks Buffs. Ladies and gentlemen, David Deal. Welcome to the show, brother.
What's up, David?
Guys, thank you so much for having me. Hope you're having a wonderful morning.
College football set. Listen, yes. Are you with us? This is the weirdest college football season that you can remember in a long time.
Or are we just hyped up on too much caffeine this morning? Speaking of, I'll be right back. I got a refill.
Man, it has felt weird, man. It has felt weird. I still don't feel like – I feel like by now you kind of know probably like the team or two that's going to probably be in the national title game, and it's just all over the place. I mean, Miami was looking fantastic, and they just self-destructed last night.
Brother, we were putting the show together, and I text both the guys, and I said, "Here's what we have so far." But I wasn't planning on both of these games last night meaning anything, so I will make some adjustments to the show rundown at probably midnight tonight because I have no idea what's going on. Now you're a Colorado fan.
Yes.
How do you feel about Colorado this season?
Oh, man. Well, I'm hoping that they can turn it around now after this nice win. You know, the last time we had a ranked win was Coach Prime's first game with Colorado going up against TCU. So it's been a disappointment. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it this year. But I still think there's time for us to get bowl eligible. If we can win our bowl game for the first time since Joel Klatt was the quarterback here, I'm going to be just happy, just totally fine, man. So, haven't been thrilled about the quarterback play. The defense has been, whatever. But there are things as like an alum that I'm cool with. I mean, we got a new Ralphie, and that has been very huge because Ralphie 6 didn't care to run. She just didn't care to run at all. So I think we're getting our identity back now that we got Ralphie 7 back the last few games. And hopefully, again, it's the Big 12. Like, as long as you don't beat yourself, you should be in every single game. That's how I feel about it. So we stopped the turnovers last week, and we played disciplined football. If we can do that after the bye week, I think that we can play spoiler, hopefully, for some of these teams.
All right, we're going to run through a few games here. Let you give your picks on some of these. We've tried to spread it out across conferences to make sure that we don't do what ESPN does and just talk about the SEC because for whatever reason, that's the only conference they care about at all.
It's the only college football that exists. Let's do it, guys.
All right, number 10 LSU at number 17 Vanderbilt. Now this isn't your grandma's Vanderbilt anymore, and this isn't the LSU that we all saw coming into this season. What do you think, LSU at Vanderbilt?
Maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid of the new SEC power of this high-flying offense. Dude, give me Vanderbilt. I don't trust this LSU defense to fully shut down Vanderbilt at home. So I'm going with Vandy on this one. I think the spread's pretty close, though, right? Is it like 2.5 points, something like that?
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah. Vandy favored it at 2.5.
Man, yeah. I don't know where I'm going with that one. It might be like a 1 or 2 point win, I think, for Vanderbilt. But give me Vanderbilt, man. Give me the edge at home. And, let's see Brian Kelly tears. That's what I want to see.
There we go. Big one for college football playoff implications. Big one for SEC championship implications. Number 5, Ole Miss at number 9, Georgia. I make sure to hit the at because there's a couple of places that you have to play on the road in the SEC that I go, this one home team might get an extra couple of points just for being the home team. This one could be that one. What do you think here?
Yeah, I'm going with the home team again in this one, Georgia. So, again, I got to see a little bit more out of – these are games that I feel like Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss, they usually do drop. They haven't really been tested on the road so far this year. So, give me Georgia to win this matchup. I think Georgia has kind of bounced back a little bit since their loss to Bama.
A game from two teams that you know very well, and as an Oklahoma fan, we just left that conference a couple of seasons ago. It is really good for the Big 12 conference for Texas Tech to be back.
Yes.
So fun to watch the Big 12 this year, man, and Texas Tech.
I mean, it is. I was like, who is playing quarterback? Because that could be Cliff Kingsbury out there. I mean, I could name 5 guys that Texas Tech looks like they've got playing in quarterback, which was the same like white guy with real big arm.
Yeah.
That they had for like 30 years.
Right.
I mean, could we go ahead and say that maybe the Big 12 has been more fun to watch than the SEC this season? Or Big 10?
I'm not disagreeing.
Any given matchup, man, can be it can be an upset. It can be a tight game. I love the parity in the Big 12, but make no mistake, man. I think Texas Tech they should dominate this game. All respect
Yeah.
to Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State, but this Texas Tech team is rolling. You don't got to worry about the penalties with the tortillas being thrown on the field, going on the road. This is. I feel like they're firing on all cylinders right now, and Arizona State isn't known for having the biggest home field advantage either. You know, they're probably going to get more up than they usually do for a game against Tech right now coming in, but this is a high-flying offense. They're playing defense. Joey McGuire has this team looking great. So give me the win outright against ASU on the road.
Let me ask you about Arizona State. Going into the season, I think a lot of people just assumed that it was a lot more of Arizona State's scheme last year and quarterback than it was Cam Scatterbo. Now that we look at the NFL and we go, hey, that guy's game translates somehow.
Yeah, they can recruit and they can develop, man. And sometimes they go and get these transfers that might just be overlooked. For instance, I mean, he might be the first wide receiver off the board in the NFL draft this year. Jordan Tyson was at CU for his freshman year. Tore his knee up pretty bad. Ended up hitting the portal. No one really thought anything of him going to ASU. And now he's one of the best receivers in college football. I think Kenny Dillingham's done a tremendous job, not only of finding talent, but developing it further. And I think that's what makes his fit, of course, being at his school, Arizona State, really special. But they've lost some key players. I think that's kind of been the big difference this year. Of course, they battled injury at the quarterback position. So, I don't expect this to be – I expect Arizona State to be in things a little bit stronger here for years to come, having locked up Dillingham. But, they're a fun team to watch too, man. I really do enjoy watching the Forks play.
And it's hard to build a college football tradition at a school that is there for the party that a college football game might break out at. It's tough.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's done a tremendous job, man. Almost knocked off Texas. Maybe another time.
Yep. Another one that's got big college football playoff implications going into this season. We didn't know what to expect out of Alabama after the first week. People were calling for Kellen DeBoer's job. Now they might be the best team in the country. Their quarterback.
Keep the black hoodie on. He's 12-2 with the black hoodie on. You got to keep the black hoodie on, DeBoer.
Oh, man. Well, this one, I'm just going based off of a gut feeling on this one, man. And, I'm going with Alabama to beat Tennessee on the road. Again, I feel like Tennessee, they're probably the ones that all the stat guys are like, yeah, man, this is a game in which they should handle Alabama. And they're at home. But I don't know. I got this feeling that they're finding themselves. And, I want to see them get this win. It would be huge for DeBoer to get like a signature win like this, man, because it's been tough for him.
and
taking over.
I think sometimes a coach, you need one that you can kind of like cram down that certain section of your fan base's throat and go, I can coach football. I'm not a moron.
Yeah. He's a great football coach. It's just I think it's one of the obviously probably the toughest job ever to take over for. Don't even say Ryan Day at Ohio State. Sorry, Strez. No. Taking over for Nick Saban at Alabama, I think is probably the toughest job in college football. So I'm glad he still has the job. I'm glad they haven't fully overreacted and fired him yet. But if he can get a win against Tennessee today, I think that will go a long ways for him in the program.
I don't know if you listened to any of the show this morning. I think this is the most overrated rivalry in the entire country. I've never understood it. It's never made sense to me. The schools are thousands of miles apart, but it is what it is. It's USC, Notre Dame. USC, I don't know who they are. I can't figure them out. Notre Dame let Jeremiah Love basically disappear for the first 2 or 3 games of the year. And from our perspective, this is one that by the first 2 series, you're going to see if this team and Notre Dame does what other teams that have played a Lincoln Riley offense do, which is get suckered into the shootout game.
And they've yet to win a Big Ten road game too, USC.
So if they go into Notre Dame and all of a sudden the glitz and the glamour of the high-powered offense, Notre Dame plays a little bit more big play oriented than they probably should, this game could get interesting. But what do you think? Number 20 USC at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think they must be like close to like double-digit underdogs going into this game, if I remember correctly, or maybe it was like 7.5 points, something. You got the spread pulled up right now?
It's at 9.
Okay, it's at 9. Okay.
Yep.
This is my upset pick of the week. This is the upset pick of the week on my channel, Dave Talks Buffs. I know they haven't had success on the road yet, USC, but I feel like this team, that they do have some wins that they can kind of fall back on to give them confidence going into South Bend. And I know this is like semantic, but good thing this is a Big Ten home game. That means they can, or a Big Ten road game. This means they can win it. And Notre Dame, I don't think they've been incredibly overly impressive or anything like that. So I think this team plays with a level of physicality and defense that we haven't seen from previous Lincoln Riley teams here at USC. I think they got a little bit more punch than people might think. So yeah, this is my upset pick of the week. I got friends that went to both schools, funny enough. And I have joined the Trojan side for this game. My Trojan friends for this one. So give me USC. I'm not going to say that I feel super convicted about it, but I just got this feeling. I just got the feeling that they're going to get it done.
I mean, that's a pretty good feeling. I mean, USC's quarterback's leading the best offense in quality drives. The junior, he's rising up in Heisman ranks to 13 big-time throws and just 2 interceptions on the season. He's put up a massive 67% success rate against cover 1, a coverage most likely implemented by the Notre Dame defense. The wide receiver group is also at full health with the recent return of Jacoby Lane. USC's struggles have come on the defense side of the ball as coordinator Deonton, I can't remember how to say his last name, Lynn. Mr. Lynn has seen opponent rushing attacks dice up the Trojans. But, I mean,
I'm surprised to see the -9 line or like almost double digits, man. Because
right,
I think at the very least, I think USC does cover that.
Exactly. I really like them at -110 is the odds, +9 on the spread for USC. Yeah, I may have to take that one myself today.
Yeah. Last one we got, probably a game that everyone in the Big 12 will be watching. I think everybody in the country should be watching this because I think this is the most underrated rivalry in college sports.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you get to call your game the Holy War, how much cooler does that just make your rivalry? Under the lights, Salt Lake Valley.
I hope they made merch. That's a cool T-shirt opportunity right there. Somebody should make.
Yeah, I love it. Number 23 Utah, number 15 BYU. This is a tough game to pick because it's a rivalry game, so you got to throw some of that stuff out. And we were talking, this is a weird rivalry game because the fan bases are all clustered together. They're all in the same city, so it's a weird thing. I don't know if there is such a thing as a home field advantage in this game, but what do you think?
Well, I think last year's game went down to the final drive pretty much. Then I remember the Utah AD coming out and saying, "Yeah, the refs stole this game from us." I mean, hilarious. I think this one goes down to the final drive as well. I think that this is going to be a great game. I know that Utah has gotten a lot of steam lately. They're kind of finding themselves under Kyle Whittingham, but this is, man, it's hard for me to pick against BYU, man. They play so well, and when they don't turn over the football, man, they are very, very hard to beat. I think Bear Bachmeier being at home, I think in this game is really going to serve him yeah, give me BYU to win this game. But yeah, everybody should tune in tonight to absolutely watch this game. It could go either way. Yeah, both teams hate each other. The fans hate each other, and I think their campuses are like only 45 minutes apart. So,
so wild.
Now is BYU still giving the opposing section free ice cream for this game? I don't know.
That's the most Mormon thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah, that's what they do. I think it's hilarious. But yeah, also before the game, go ahead and read up on some history on Wikipedia on Utah, the Holy War, everything. I mean,
1890.
Utah's crazy.
1890. It's just one of those I get because both these schools just came into quote unquote big conferences that like. But I think, listen, if you're watching this show, I'm telling you that when they do the first flyover of this thing and they got the lights on the mountain and everything, you're going to go, what is this? And it's just the best kept secret in college football that has been played for over 100 years. And it's a little wild that is a stab, but it's so much fun. For two fan bases that are, a part of the country is known as one of the nicest places that you could ever go. The people are very sweet and nice and kind. Boy, they can't stand each other at all.
No. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And BYU, if you haven't watched a BYU game before, especially when they're playing at home, I think it's one of the best environments in college football. They can get up. They don't need alcohol. A little unsure about the caffeine. I don't know how seriously that's taken.
Fuzzy.
But, I mean, they get up. It is a rowdy environment and one of the best mascots in college football as well. Right now, Cosmo.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you give LJ Martin the ball for BYU during this game, and you're going to see those fans erupt. He's become one of the most reliable bell cows in the sport with 101 carries for 652 yards. He flanks Bachmeier as they punish opposing defenses with their legs. BYU is second in the Big 12 in rushing yardage and only trailing Utah by 10 per game. So it's going to be a fun one to watch. The question is that I'll ask you guys, the questions that remain for BYU is, can Bachmeier limit his turnovers? And what does he need to do to limit his turnovers? After 4 starts with 0 interceptions to open the season, he's thrown 3 in his last 2 games.
Got to run the ball, man. I think that's been the key to victory is just
feed LJ.
Find runs for him and decisive scrambles. So that's what he should do. Limit how often he's throwing the ball.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just comes down to what you don't do. And this is probably one of those games where it's like, hey, we don't need you to be a hero, man. Like, just keep it on the ground, keep it conservative. If it opens up, if you want to, the run game's going to set it up. So just let the run game set it up. Don't try to go in and start doing stuff that you can't do.
Yeah,
and, we've seen it. I mean, LSU, perfect example of it. Nussmeier wants so bad you could tell every game to try to get back on track, and they just can't get it working. It just feels so off all the time. And we've seen that from several quarterbacks. I mean, Carson Beck last night, I think, was trying to do too much. And once it starts,
they end up beating themselves.
Once it starts going bad, it's hard to stop that snowball rolling downhill. So,
that's the same issues Nussmeier was dealing with last season. We talked about it coming into this season a couple episodes ago. His focus and under pressure, making good decisions under the gun. But this is going to be an interesting one. If they get the run game going, keep feeding that ball to LJ, and really, like any game, it boils down to who makes the least amount of mistakes.
David, before we let you go, college football overall, what is your take on this season overall? Do you have a team that you look at and go, I think this is the best team in the country? My best team in the country lost last week to Indiana. I was pounding that Oregon drum, and then they just got stumped.
And I want to add to that question before you answer it. Has this been one of the best football seasons to watch, at least as far as like parity?
Yes, absolutely. It has been fantastic. I love it. I think the NIL, all those sorts of things, it has kind of helped spread things out a little bit more. We still need to find a little bit more of that money here in the Big 12, I think, in order to make some more serious noise in the playoff. But, man, I'm not even worried about that right now. What I want to do is watch good college football. You get that every week. Right now, I got to go with Strez, man. I think Ohio State's still the team to beat, man. I really think they are. I still think that they are a step above the rest right now until I see them start to, seriously falter. Indiana has been awesome to watch. I'm glad Kurt Cignetti got locked up again. Hopefully, Matt Rule will just totally leave the Cornhuskers before the season ends.
Do you think that was some of that Mark Cuban money being coughed up to get Cignetti?
Yeah. Sorry, say that again.
Do you think that was some of that Mark Cuban money that was getting coughed up there to pay Cignetti?
Dude, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, they were definitely going after him. And, dude, Matt Rule, he didn't say no. He played linebacker there. Dude, this guy's talking about how he loves living in Lincoln. It's 300,000 people. Dude, this guy's talking about Lincoln like it's New York City. This guy lies. He is lying. He's absolutely interested in this Penn State job. He would be crazy not to take this job. So I know that's a little bit of a tangent, but as a CU fan, with them getting on, oh, Coach Prime's going to retire. Oh, man, Coach Prime's going to go to the, whatever. Texas A&M, whatever. The last however many years he's been here, man, it would be nothing more than hilarious to see. Actually, nah, your coach is going to get poached. Matt Rule going to go back to his alma mater because I think he would be a fantastic hire. Who cares that he can't win big games at Nebraska? We're not even going to look into that too deeply, man. Bring him out to Penn State. I think it would be a fantastic fit. And yeah, but none of them are touching Ohio State, especially this year, man. I think like right now they're the team to beat.
Tell everybody where they can find you, man.
David Talks Buffs on YouTube and on Twitter. David Talks Broncos on YouTube. So that's where I collaborate with Strez on every Thursday night. We break down the Broncos game for the upcoming week. So, guys, thanks so much for having me. I'm really honored to be an honorary water boy for the weekend. So thank you.
Come back and see us anytime, Dave. It's great having you on, brother.
Dude, thank you guys so much.
Even if you and Strez are Broncos fans, we won't hold it against you.
Oh man, you're not.
We all can't be,
though, right?
We all can't be Patriots fans, I guess.
No.
Okay. Well, hey, go Drake May. As long as you're not a Chiefs fan.
I'm a Bears fan. I deal with heartache and loss as a part of just my mental makeup.
Yeah. Those McCaskies.
Hey, I'm dealing with the days of old and nostalgia.
I did pick the Bears to win this week, though. They might pick them.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, we need one, and we got. They've already got the storylines working. The quarterbacks don't like each other. Everything. It's like, dude, one guy lost his starting job to one guy. Yeah, they don't like each other. I don't think there's anything. I like some big mystery there.
No,
I wouldn't like him either.
Yeah. Nah, Caleb Williams, man, I think he's turning the corner. So it's.
I will say this. I am excited.
I grew up north of Chicago. So, like, a lot of my friends are Bears fans.
What town?
Grays Lake.
Oh, my dad's from Peoria.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, right over by Six Flags. So, I'm very well versed in the struggles Bears fans have had and, their ownership and all that. But, man, I think Ben Johnson takes a special coach to get all through that, man. I think that he might be the guy.
I like it.
Yeah.
Go follow him. David Talks Buffs. Brother, appreciate your time this morning. We'll have you back maybe a little bit later in the season when some of this stuff starts to weed out and talk some college football playoff.
Dude,
thank you, Dave. Good luck to your Buffs, buddy.
Thank you. See you guys.
There he is, David Talks Buffs. Go follow him over on Twitter. Go follow him on YouTube. And if you're a Broncos fan, you can follow him for all your Broncos stuff there. And they do a show every Thursday, he and Strez. All right, Steve, that's our full day of games, brother.
Yep.
If you haven't
Can I say this real quick and it not be weird? I like David's voice. Seems like he could make like some SMR. Is that what they call them? SMR videos, just talking college football, and I'd listen to them.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100% get it. 100%. All right. A lot of things happening in college football this week. It's going to be a wild weekend of games. There's a lot of other games that we could have picked on in our picks that we didn't because there's just too many games this weekend. This is starting to become a trend in college football. If you haven't yet, download Better, BETR. Download Better. Use code WASH to get a special promo. Big shout out to we had a couple of people that downloaded the app last week and use code WASH. We appreciate you doing that. Supports the show and helps you have some fun on your college football Saturdays and your NFL Sundays. We will be back this week with some more content. If you haven't yet, go follow us wherever you're watching, whether it's the Facebook page, our YouTube page, or on X. We appreciate you very, very much. And we've had some craziness happening in the comments with a video that I put out, an open invitation to Texas fans for somebody to come on the Waterboys College Football Show and debate me on this whole Oklahoma-Texas thing. We have yet to have any takers,
and hopefully today my beloved Kentucky Wildcats can play spoiler and we can go 3-3 on the season. We'll see. But yeah, hopefully we can expose Arch Manning today. That's what I'm hoping for.
We'll see what happens. A lot of things happening this weekend. We'll be back next Saturday, 8 a.m. Central for another Waterboys College Football pregame show brought to you by Better. Until then, enjoy your college football Saturday, folks.